Quite interesting. I get asked quite often, Baba, what are you doing and what have you done to deal with the coronavirus, COVID-19? Well, I'll give you a little sneak peek of what Baba has been doing on Plant-Based Today. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for another wonderful, enlightening show of Plant-Based Today. I am Baba Cordell. So we're going to discuss a little bit of what I have done and have been doing to deal with the coronavirus, COVID-19, worldwide apocalyptic circumstance. So first and foremost, for transparency, you have to know I do absolutely work out. I work out my way, not only one way. I don't just go into the gym. No, I'm outdoors. I do my stretches, I do my Qigong, I do my Tai Chi, along with other things to assist my adrenal glands, to keep my heart pumping at a certain rate. I am a walker. I'm a tree hugger. Also, I eat a certain way. I've been eating plant-based in the vegetarian, vegan, and raw food world for approximately 25 years. Even within those worlds, because I don't want to send out the message that just because you consider yourself vegetarian, vegan, or raw foodist, that means you're healthy. There are some aspects to things of what you eat, the source of where it comes from. There are certain things that may need to be opened up because it may be a nightshade. And then you have to know your body. You have to know your genetics. You need to know your bloodstream. You need to know yourself. So even within those worlds, there are factors. And then you have to make sure that your organs have what it needs to be fueled. You have to make sure that you have the right nutritional aspects of things. So if you need to adjust to some supplements, I was never really a supplement user, yet there are supplements, for full disclosure, that I do use that have been extremely assistant to my natural evolution. I must say that, and I'm grateful. So I have been upon a track and a trajectory of health, the way that it fits me, myself. So I want you to know that if you have any health circumstances, if you have anything that is going on with you that may be undetected, or if you are ignoring it, you need to pay attention to it. Because there are certain things that actually feed off of other things that may magnify everything. I'll let you decipher that. So with that being shared, COVID-19 or the coronavirus, I cannot directly say that I have had an episode or even the symptoms of the coronavirus yet, under the worldwide alert. Yet I remember back in December of 2019, one day I've been functioning fine throughout the winter. My health was at a great maximum capacity for the season. And then I started feeling these incredible headaches. My glands were swollen. I could barely move. Sure, I've had flus, I've had colds, I've had other things just growing up as a child in this environment. Yet, I felt something that was so extremely magnified that even the things that I took that were part of my maintenance, drinking the different types of herbs, making sure that I have the different minerals in my system, the fresh juices, eating, making sure that I have freshly cleaned my foods, and so on and so forth. There were certain things, and with this overstanding, when it hits, you got to go through it to get through it. This was something that I've never felt before. My body heat, my fevers was incredibly beyond. It was into my bone marrow. My head was so just filled with pulsation that I've never felt before. My glands were extremely swollen. My body ached in a way I just couldn't move. So I did my own self-quarantine. It was incredibly impactful, powerful, and at times painful. Yet I just absorbed it all. I centered myself. I maintained my meditative prayers. I maintained my centering. And even when I took certain types of extreme herbs or plant-based types of medicinal things, my body rejected it. It rejected it. I say rejected it, yet it may have absorbed it in a different way, yet it rejected it different from the way that it would normally absorb it. So based upon what came to be known as coronavirus, COVID-19, months later, every symptom fit that circumstance that I had back in December. Now, this was not diagnosed by any type of medical professional or things of that nature. I took it and I buried it for about 3 to 4 days, and then I started coming from it. Even then, it lingered on past those days. My body had to go through its healing process. It had to go into its reinstatement, its reinstituting, because the body has to be fed the fuel to heal anything that is out of order. So I wanted to give you some transparency with that as we get ready to go into, once this was alerted throughout the world and definitely in the US, there were certain things that I already had a part of my regimen that I would say, tuned in and turned up a little bit more. And then there were other things that I added on to it. So let's get started and I'll share some of those things. So one of the things amongst many things that I have that is just a part of my arsenal, I would say for the antibiotics, I always use the North American Urban Spice wild crafted oregano oil. Wild crafted, cold pressed. And the reason why I use this particular one, because I've tried others. I know that because of branding and marketing, a lot of stores like to have a lot of in-house things. And then you have a lot of companies that like to have their own versions of things. There is something absolutely complementary to this particular one to my body. See, when you study and you take your time to research, you don't just dive into things. This is one of those powerful plant-based natural antibiotics. It is extremely strong. I highly, highly encourage you to do your research, study it, and then also know the causes, the effects of yourself, what you have going on, and then also the side effects that could occur if you overuse. And then on top of that, the recommended usage may not necessarily mean that that's what you need to do. You may need to do less. You have to be attentive to your body. Yet, nonetheless, the North American Urban Spice wild oregano oil, this has been absolutely a powerful, powerful piece of my arsenal of keeping viruses away. Yet, with anything, don't depend on one thing. Make sure you're doing so many other things. You're detoxing seasonally. You're eating food seasonally. You're very mindful on what you intake and then the environment that you're around. If you see, sense, smell, or identify anything out of order or disruptive to your senses and your radar goes off, get away from it, reassess it. So there are a lot of things on your own. Making sure you have a clean household, a clean car, making sure that you constantly bathe a certain way. So we'll dive into that in a second. So I wanted to introduce the North American Urban Spice wild oregano oil. And this particular one that is sourced P73, you can definitely find this at various cooperative health stores, independent health stores, or even major stores that have a some sort of health and wellness department to it. But this particular one, and you can also get it online. All right, next, to mention, I use the organic herb farm Super Echinacea. Now, this particular Echinacea, give you a little view right there, right? This particular Echinacea that is made by Herb Farms, that is H-E-R-B as in boy, P as in Paul, H-A-R-M, Herb Farm. This particular Super Echinacea, this is the organic one in particular. See, this one is made with approximately 4 different parts of the plant. Now, you have some things that are actually made with the flower of the plant. Some things are made of the stem of the plant. Some things are made only from the root of the plant. So you have different components that may actually have different essences that are needed depending on what it is that you have going on. They may be extracted from different reasons. So this one has 4 different parts of the plant that it is actually extracted from. Echinacea is one of those things that builds your immune support. See, the thing is what are you doing besides just eating per your taste buds? What are you actually fueling when it comes to your cellular levels and then also your immune systems? And then at times, things you need to do to cleanse your blood. So there are other maintenances that goes involved in this, Yet super echinacea was one of those things, and particularly by herb farm, that I found to be actually valuable during this particular time. Now, I will actually share with you that usually when you're dealing with any type of tinctures, right, there's a type of cane or some type of glycerin alcohol that is usually used with it in order to open the herb up. So please be mindful and read the ingredients, do your research, and consult with those professionals so that you can make a rational decision for what's good for you. Now, when you first introduce something to the system, your body has to adjust to it. And then if you choose to be in tune with yourself, such as using this particular type of super echinacea, there's a reason why it's called super echinacea, which I explained before, coming from the 4 different parts of the plant. Yet you also have certain types of echinacea in different forms, including a powder form that you can add to your smoothies for your regular maintenance. So please be mindful of all of these particular things, including not going overboard, reading the instructions, reading the ingredients, and the number one thing, know thyself. Now, this is what we also have here. We have what's called from Wish Garden Herbs. I'm going to turn it slowly. The Kick-Ass Immune Activator. That's right, Kick-Ass Immune Activator. Now, what was quite interesting about this one is I actually was not familiar. This is more of a combination type of concoction that deals with a complementary aspects of, I would say, building your immune system, yet also ridding viruses, because it has certain components that are just cleansers of the viruses. They strip them, yet they're not necessarily used to fuel your cellular energy. So it's a combination. And if you're going to be that type of scientist, I know many like to do things themselves, be botanical. Study your herbs to know what will mix with what and not cancel out each other and or create some sort of Frankenstein that actually can be counterproductive to your body. Yet, this was something that I actually walked past, true story. I walked past it inside of a health store and it called me. No different than a book, no different than sometimes a land space to go and just feel the energy of, or a tree just says come here, or you know how you just gravitate towards certain things, or you feel like the energy just gravitates towards you and you pay attention to it. This was one of those things. This was one of those things, because as you can look at the label, there's nothing on the front of it that breaks down its ingredients. It just says what it says. Yet, for some reason, I paid attention through my spirit, my energy. I went on ahead and picked it up because I was already looking for just things to build up the immune system, and people were on a frenzy. They were just buying things in bulk, and the supplies were now in high demand. And of course, dealing with the lockdown and the limited liability of transportation, a lot of trucks could not get through to a lot of stores to deliver certain things. This, no one was getting. It was just filled up there. And I read it. I'm going to read a couple of the ingredients. Baptista root, elderflower, herba santa leaf, yarrow aerials, echinacea, white golden seal, lovage root, cinnamon bark, osha root, vegetable glycerin. I said, wow, this has everything that I was actually going to, for the most part, piece together. It had it all. And I went and I did my own little muscle testing. You know, I use certain methodologies depending upon the circumstances, and it just confirmed. And then I went through another protocol because I'm very mindful of what I put in my body. So I want my body, my organs to tell me also, this is what you want. And I turned around and boom, I just started taking it. And it immediately just showed itself. It just immediately started working. And I have to compliment myself due to the fact of my maintenance of how I eat, how I live, how I exercise, all those other components. This really complemented. And I actually use this throughout because you're still interacting with people. This thing was pretty much person to person and or airborne. This was a huge compliment. during this time. Kick-ass immune. All right, so as you saw from before, we have one more thing to showcase that I actually added to my arsenal. I was doing my meditation. I was really into it, and then it just came to me. My mind was clear, it was quiet. A voice just kept saying, Manuka Honey, Manuka Honey. I have never taken it. It is not a part of my thought process. It was never a part of my regimen. Have I read about it? If I think deep enough in the library of my mind, I'm pretty sure I have come across it, at least the wording, yet organically. Manuka Honey. It just started repeating itself in my head. Yes, I heard voices. Manuka Honey, Manuka Honey. I went through my internal protocol and I immediately went to a store and I got some Manuka Honey after I researched and read upon it. Yes, Manuka Honey. Now this one is made by Weatherspoon, right? As you can see. Now, Manuka is actually, it's a type of tree. And the Manuka tree actually blooms a type of flower. And then you have certain types of bees that go to that flower. And of course, they will extract it and create the honey. Now, this particular company and this particular Manuka honey is actually manufactured and produced over in New Zealand. So this is more of an Australian, New Zealand. It's in that part of the world where this is actually created and made. Now, I did some indigenous research and I spoke to some people who are more in tune with more of, I would say, the ancient ways. And they talked about the medicinal factors that are within the Manuka tree and Manuka honey in particular. Now, with that being shared, I would tell anyone, first thing first, consult with your healthcare provider and or practitioner and do your own research. There are some aspects of Western medicine that says it's not proven if it's medicinal to the body. Full disclaimer, what worked for me, this Manuka honey, in which I never thought about, never thought of, it came to my mind, I'm obedient, my center confirmed it. It's been wonderful. It has absolutely been wonderful. I mean, I can feel the balance of the level of minerals. I can feel the level of whatever properties that it fully has in it. It was a huge contributing factor to me, my health, and my safety. I mean, it has been absolutely wonderful, and I am so grateful. So raw, monofloral, Manuka honey. Now, you can get it by any way of whatever you choose, whatever manufacturer, blah, 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 yet this has been incredible. So Manuka honey. All right, everyone. So I just gave you a few things that I was doing. I gave you a little backstory, and then I went into a few things that I've added to my arsenal. Yet, let me further be transparent with you. It's not just those things. I eat a certain way, and then I actually shift my eating per any and all circumstances. I pay attention to how my organs feel. What is my body telling me? So, for example, I didn't indulge in much things that could clog up my colon, my system, such as yeast, breads, glutens, things of that nature. I had more of a fruit, a little bit of raw vegetable, and a liquefied type of diet. I switched it up per the circumstances, right? And I do that anyway, yet under these circumstances, I definitely did it, right? I maintain my workouts. I still exercise. I just adjusted my exercise. And for those who are only focused on going into the gym because mentally you allowed yourself to develop that habit, you could have still walked outdoors. Fresh air is absolutely instrumental in all of this. You have to allow your lungs to go in and breathe deep. I give thanks and I'm honored because I had the opportunity to be by some water that had some great salt coming straight off of the ocean. So I was constantly meditating and breathing in day and night. Sunrise, sunset, sun view, moonlight. I was drinking my organic green teas, which I do anyway. Certain type of ginger combinations. So what I'm saying is I took what I was doing, I listened to myself, I added on to, or I tuned in and turned up what I was already doing. I allowed myself through submission to be led, yet I was still diligent with being attentive to my own mind. So please, by any and all means, overstand through meditation, through my workouts, and then also sometimes you just need to be and be still. The power of quiet. Just allow your mind to rest. Allow your organs to slow down, to just get still. Sometimes you've worked out enough. You may not need to work out for a certain period. It's okay. Allow the different types of fats, allow the body to rest, allow the levels of regeneration, depending on the type of workout you're doing or whatever other activities you're doing. See, what I'm saying is ultimately, how in tune are you with yourself to know what to do and how to do? Allow you to speak to you, and it will be a huge benefactor with leading you to what you need. Be in alignment with you, be in alignment with existence. So with all that being shared, hopefully this was very beneficial to you. And if you're able to take something from it, please do so. This is Plant-Based Today. Stay in gratitude.